Hi guys, and welcome back to another World's Best Gardens. This week we are looking at Glendurgan Garden, and that's on the Cornwall coast, and it's open pretty much all year round from Tuesday to Thursday from 10:30 to 5 p.m. and it's a really cool garden to have a look around. It is located in a valley, and you basically start at the top and you head down one side, there's a beach at the bottom, and then you go back up the other. So here's a quick look at it, and I've just sort of put it in square there. And what's really cool also is that it's right next to another very famous garden called Trebah, which we've done another video on. And both gardens are well worth a visit, and of course you can hit two birds with one stone when you're visiting these gardens. This garden is a National Trust garden, and Trebah is a privately owned garden. Okay, so there was the pineapple lily. And here we are. This is another garden related to the Trebah garden and part of the Fox family. This one was created by Alfred Fox. He lived from 1794 to 1874. And these guys were Quakers. And this property was purchased between sort of 1820 to 1830. And so a lot of the gardens were made around then. And it sort of started off with a lot of fruit trees. And being on the valley, it was a good idea with the wind coming up the middle of it. They put sort of protection from with trees on either side, and of course having a path that led down either way was a great idea. The soil here can get a little bit boggy. We know it's sort of a bit of a sort of valley in the middle that can get quite damp. And so these were quite cool little cobblestones and stones that have been placed just so you don't sort of slip over. And lots of extensive planting as we went through the garden. And we were here in the sort of later summer, early autumn sort of period. Being on the Gulf Stream, these gardens get a very nice sort of mild climate, temperate climate, so it's possible to grow lots of ferns and a few palms and different more sort of lush plantings than you'd probably be able to grow in other parts of the UK. So what we're doing now is there's different little pathways that sort of lead you through, and one of the main features that we're just coming up to now is the maze. It's a very, very cool, quite iconic looking maze. You don't get to see so many mazes that look like this, and this one was designed in 1833 by Alfred Fox, and it was planted in 1833, and it was a sort of copied design from another very famous maze garden that's around about 12 acres called the Sydney Gardens in Bath. That's not in Sydney in Australia, but in Bath, the Sydney Gardens. And that plant there is the cherry laurel, and that was picked for it to be quite sort of tolerant to the conditions there. And it grows quite extensively. Mazes, of course, involve a lot of maintenance, so it does have to be pruned quite extensively. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to work through our way down the embankment and down the path. As you see, there's lots of lush plantings and interesting things on the way. And one of the plants that you see quite common in some of these gardens is these very big, giant gunneras. You can see there's some selection of hydrangeas down there as well. And we're just going to make our way down to the beach, which was where we're coming to now. So this is Durgan, coming up down this pathway to Durgan Village, and then Durgan Village. There's around about 16 small hamlets. Some of them are available for Airbnb. So you could stay here, which would be quite cool, I'd imagine. It'd be a really quite nice place to sort of go. You've got the garden on one side and you've got this beach. Obviously, this beach sort of goes around and that joins up to the Trebah beach, just not too further down. Really quite quaint little sort of almost like a little fishing village. And a great sort of vibe, great atmosphere down here. And great to sort of spend the day, I guess. If you wanted to. So just a small village, and right down the bottom, which is a nice sort of bonus when you're going for a walk around a garden, that there is something else other than just the garden to walk around. You can walk down to this beach, and that's just showing you where we are on the map as we've sort of walked right down to the end. So now we're going to take the other side, and we're going to head back up the other side of the valley, and On their way, we saw this beautiful ginger plant here, a ginger lily. Was looking particularly good. And that's just that, so you've got Gunnera cryptica, and that's a sort of a bit of a reclassification of the Gunneras there, and it was a bit of a cross between the two varieties. That's what they found in 2023 when they did the analysis on it and the DNA of it. Of course, this now plant is kind of a little bit illegal to grow now, but if you've got it on your property, then that's fine. But it's no longer for sale in local nurseries because I think it's a little bit invasive. And this is the clethra, which is the lily of the valley tree, and this was flowering when we were walking around, and looking really good. These Gunneras do look amazing now. It's almost a shame because they do really add a real, almost a tropical and really amazing look to the garden. So yeah, here's another look at the summer house and the maze. The summer house was added in 1990, and you can see these are the 4 Chusan palms, the Trachycarpus. Originally in the plan there was supposed to be sort of small buildings, I think, at each corner. But the maze has a total length of paths of 706 metres, and the distance to the centre is about 374 metres. And so yeah, that's a really cool sort of looking back. This is what I think this garden is most famous for, is this maze. And of course there was heaps of people walking around and walking through the maze. I thought this was a really cool feature. This is a sort of a boat seat. Something very different, and I think it's always nice when in gardens you do sort of have something quite unique, and that's the first time I'd seen one of those boat seats. Okay, so there's lots of very obviously well-established trees, like this one we're coming up to here. This is the tulip tree, which is the liriodendron, and obviously it looks like one of those plants that was originally planted back in the sort of 1830s. But yes, initially there was, they really did have a lot of fruit trees, olive trees. I didn't see too many when we were walking around the gardens. Maybe these are there in a different area. The garden is a bit bigger than the Trebah gardens, but yeah, it's still there's still a lot of planting and a lot of different combinations of plants. There's a New Zealand native part to it. That's the Allegia there, looking quite cool. Okay, guys, so we sort of just basically finished. We've walked back to the top. Again, there's a little restaurant to have a look at and go and have something to eat. And that was Glendurgan Garden. Well worth a visit. And obviously, like I said, because there's 2 gardens there very close, both done by the Fox family, then it is well worth a look. This one obviously was gifted to the trust in 1963, I believe. And as a trust property, it is run really well. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next video.